Have you ever felt a longing for something without knowing exactly what it is? A quiet pull in your heart, like an invisible thread leading you towards something greater? There was once a little boy, just 6 years old, who felt exactly that. He didn't know much about God. He hadn't read any holy books or heard grand stories, but he had one simple, innocent wish: to meet God. Not to ask for anything, not for toys or blessings, just to sit and share a meal with him. So one morning, he packed a few flatbreads in a small cloth bag and set off on a journey, one guided not by maps, but by faith. By evening, the boy arrived at the bank of a quiet river. There, sitting alone on a stone, was an elderly woman. Her face was aged and lined, but her eyes sparkled with a kind of love that seemed to have been waiting. The boy sat beside her in silence and began eating his bread. Then, as if remembering something important, he looked at her and offered a piece. She accepted it with a smile so bright it softened the years on her face. Tears welled up in her eyes, not from hunger, but from being seen, from being loved, in that moment of pure kindness. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. They simply shared bread, presence, and peace. As night fell, the boy got up and asked to leave. He kept looking back as he walked away, seeing the woman still watching him, like a mother watches a child, or a heart watches its joy. When he reached home, his mother embraced him. She saw the happiness glowing on his little face. "What made you so happy?" she asked. With a smile full of wonder, he replied, "Mother, today I had bread with God." And far away, in a modest little home, that same elderly woman told her neighbors, "God came today. He was young, innocent. He smiled at me, fed me, and loved me." She had waited for 2 days by that river bank. And today, God arrived in the form of a child. What a beautiful truth this story reveals. We often expect the divine to arrive in thunder, in miracles, with grand gestures and shining light. But more often than not, God comes quietly, in a child's smile, in a stranger's kindness, in a moment shared without expectation. That little boy wasn't a prophet. He simply carried love in his heart. That woman wasn't a saint. She simply kept her hope alive. And in their meeting, God happened. So the question is not, where is God? But rather, are we open enough to see Him in the ordinary? Because when the heart is pure, when giving is selfless, and when presence is shared with love, that's when the divine reveals itself. We spend our lives chasing meaning, looking for signs, rushing from moment to moment. But maybe the most sacred moments are the quiet ones, where you pause, where you listen, where you give without needing anything in return. True joy doesn't come from what we collect. It comes from what we offer. That simple bread was no feast, but the love behind it, that was enough to awaken God Himself. So take a moment today, sit with someone, offer something small, with great love, and you may just find you're sitting with God too. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more stories that nourish the soul. And tell us in the comments, when was the last time you felt a quiet moment of divinity in your life?